your D, you can have your G while you're 18 is 18 to older, right? How about for the G and the concealer? What age is required to have a gun license?
21.
21. No, for the conceal, I can say yes, no. For the G, it's still 18 to older for the G. You could be 18 years old and you can have your G. Remember, you can get the army when you're 18, right? It's 18 to older, right? You can have your G license. But for the conceal, you have to be 21 to older. To have a conceal is 21 to older. You see how it works? So let's say you call me and say, Mr. Serge, I need a gun license. I know you don't know, right? I will ask you what you need your gun for. If you say for work, I'm saying, oh yeah, you need a G license. If you say for, oh man, I have a good job for my protection, I'm saying, okay, you need a conceal. You see how it works? It's two different ways you can carry it. But when you have a G license, you have to have the D license. Who asked me? Somebody asked me, Mr. Serge, how much for the D? I'm saying 145. How much for the G? 200. He said, okay, let me have a G then. I can have both. It don't work this way. It's two different licenses. You have to have a D. You have to have a D first, and then next 5 weeks you will have a G. You can just be smart or pay for the G, and then it's okay because the G pay is low. When you get the job, they pay. You know, it don't work like this. You have to have a D first, and then matter of fact, you see the trick. When you have, of course, you will have the D first, right? And next 5 weeks or next 5 months or a year, you come for the G, right? But that's most of the time the D gonna be expired before because you had it first, right? So now let's say you have a D and the G. Now you have a job as a G license, right? And don't say, oh, now I'm working as a G. I'm not gonna review the D. You see, even though you work as a G, because the D means uniform, you have to renew your D because they mean uniform. Because you're working as a G. Don't say, oh no, now forget about the D because I have a good job as a G. My G is still good, I'm good. No, it's not good. As soon as the D is expired, you're in trouble now. You have to renew it if you're working as a G license. Now, if you have a D and the G, you work as a D, it's okay. You don't want to renew the D, the G is okay because you work as a G. But the problem is when you need the G, you're gonna have to pay a lot of money for it. Why? Because I'm gonna come to it. How many hours is required, guys, for renew your D license? You guys remember?
2 years.
It's 2 years. That's correct. 3 months before your license expires, the state will send you a letter to remind you it's time for you to renew your license because the state doesn't want you to. They don't want you to work with expired license. They could fine you for that, and they know where you're working at. That's crazy. They know where you are. Why? What they do, they send you a note, a letters like 3 months before. Because while you're working, they want you already do your renewal, your picture, fingerprint, and you send to them while you're still working, and they have time for them to send you your license while you're still working. That means you don't work with expired license. But if you wait in the end, like 2 weeks before, 1 week before your license will be expired, you're trying to send them in, and then for them, they need 2 or 3 weeks for them to send it back. That means you're going to work with expired license. That's why they send you this note like 3 months before your license is expired. You see how it works? So, and they do know where you're working at. That the same way they know where my school is at. If they want me, they come to me, right? They know where you are too. I could explain that. If you, let's say you work for U.S. security, right? Or whatever security you lose. They're supposed to take your, if you work at the post office, they're supposed to let the state know where you're working and what time you're working at the post office. You work at the immigration, they're supposed to do the same thing. They take a copies from your license and send them to the state. They say, no, what time you work at that immigration and address and everything, right? You work in any apartment building for me, right? We do the same. Let the state know where you're working at, right? That's what they already know. The agency is supposed to let them know. Even though your insurance actually knows where you're working at, something happened. The insurance not only something happened somewhere else, they're not going to pay for it. They have to know where you've been working. You understand what I'm saying? So this is the way it is. That means the agency is supposed to let them know if they're doing it in the right way. That means if they look for you, everything computer now, right? If they look for you, the computer will tell you and they know where to come look for you, right? And check this out. If you don't have your ID on you, it's probably 500, maybe 1,000, I don't know. You don't have your patch for you you're working for, might be 500, might be 1,000, I don't know. You don't have your uniform, you don't have your patch, your badge, all is fine. You might say, yes, you know what, sir, you can keep the license, I don't want it too much money. So what I'm trying to say though, when you be at your post, make sure you have your IDs. You're supposed to have 2 types of IDs on you when you work it. Which that is the driver license, of course. You don't even have to cut it because you're supposed to be always have it, right? And if you work for Kent, Kent will give you the Kent ID, right? And plus your security D-license ID. You always have to have those when you come on your post, right? And also, let's say you have 2 jobs. Much time you're going to have 2 jobs if you come for any D, because the D, they start like 10, 11, 12. You might need 2 jobs for $10 an hour. But that's why when you start the G, they pay 17 to higher, right? But let's say you have 2 jobs, right? You work for Kent Security and then in part-time US Security, right? When you leave Kent Security, I want you to change your uniform when you go to the other job. Because don't go to Brian Security with Kent Security uniform. If something happened, they're going to say, hey, yeah, you work for, you know? So remember to always change if you have 2 jobs. Don't go with the same uniform to the other job. Because they're different agencies. That don't make any sense? So, DG conceal. So where are we on the test again? Which number? 6. What? Read number 6.